Hello and welcome to my wonderful human family that's right at the heart of the purest of intention of the Gnostic takeover. Because believe me, we can only do the work that we're doing because we've got a pure heart, pure innocence. But don't mistake that for being easily led, okay, for being, the word escapes me, just easily had. That's what's been happening to humanity lately. Oh, only lately, you think? No, for a very, very long time. Humanity has been easily manipulated and had, and this is happening right now, the same as it was before the Second World War and before World War I. So we today are going to be talking about World War III. That is happening right now, however, has been happening for longer than we think. So with the COVIDian cult, crisis of 2020, as I like to call it, to frame it, the war just went to another frontier, meaning the West, the Western nations. So already the war has been creeping into the West, but that's where the war went full-blown for everyone to see. And it exposed what had been going on all the time before. I want to be absolutely clear about that. Corona, the crisis of 2020, only put light to what was already lingering in the shades of darkness. Okay? So it showed the absolute ignorance and immorality of most of humanity. Not only in the Western world, for all those who just want to pin everything at the fault of the white people, and we've done it to the black people and all this and that, okay? The Gnostic takeover doesn't fall for that too, because it's a form of self-hatred that leads you down the rabbit hole right into hell of the one who hates himself the absolute most, which is the demiurge, Satan himself and his minions, the witches and the black magicians. Self-hatred, we don't do that here at the Gnostic takeover. We love humanity no matter in what color, no matter in what race, no matter what culture. What we point out at the Gnostic takeover is the modus operandi, the multi-dimensional modus operandi of mind control. And that, what we call the Wetiko mind virus, has infected all of humanity, no matter which color or creed. So there goes John Lash out of the window, the Gnostic teacher on the internet who tells people that white Europeans are not as infected with the Wetiko mind virus because they eat pork. Can you believe that? It's what he actually says. I can quote him on that. It's on Red Ice Radio if you're interested. If you're interested in listening to the full 3 hours, which I did and took notes of. We're dealing with a mind virus here, and all of humanity has been under covert psychological warfare for much longer before the hidden went on the scene on the movie screen in the theaters. And that only became apparent with the crisis of 2020. And many people started to open their eyes and like, ooh, something has just kicked off. I don't quite know what it is, but I better find out what's really going on here now, because clock's ticking. Yeah, absolutely, because what it is harvest time. Okay? They want to harvest as many souls as they can. And who are they is a very important question to ask. Who are they? I define they as they are an invading force. A force of invasion, a force of colonization. That's they. It takes many forms in terms of national governments that supposedly represent nation states all across the globe, who are all registered, registered to the United Nations Corporation. And it's really, we're not on the reality front on what it really is. Different, it appears to be different nation states, okay, all across the world. Yes, they're different in the appearance, in the nature that the state is structured. Okay, so you've got different forms of political, governmental systems, structures, right? Particular, that is, that goes by the particular history that that region or that country has gone through. That's a major thing to consider. And also the sort of culture, the cultural fragrance of the people living in said country, any country on the globe. And that's how the politics are structured, according to that culture. Culture is an important thing because culture is a copy of nature. Culture, nature. So what appears to be different countries with different political systems are all tied up in this is all out in the open. We all know that. They're all sewn up into what is termed the international community. Okay, so we're going to jot that down, the international community that is governed by international law. Hence, it really is quite funny. Hence, the West is now coming out that Russia is going against international law. Russia has violated international law. Well, the Western countries weren't interested in international law with the war, the theater of wars that they have created. Back then, they had another excuse. Okay, they don't go by international law. The Western bloc, okay, the Western bloc. There's a Western bloc and there's an Eastern bloc. All right, It's a paradigm. That's what we call a paradigm. And as I'm going to show, it is a false paradigm. False in the sense that it does not represent the true dynamics at play with international politics. So again, we're back to the pyramidical structure, okay, the structure of the pyramid as it comes together. And you sort of split the pyramid in half and you would have the two sides, okay? This is why I keep symbolizing the matrix as a pyramid. And I love to do that. A pyramid. I love to do that. And there's two blocks. However, it is not that they are against each other. That's the theatrics for the masses. Okay, that's the propaganda for the masses to believe in. Okay, the world has always been at war, it will always be war, and people just don't get on with each other. And yeah, that's what humanity is. That's why we deserve what we get. We deserve to be slaves. Yeah, can you imagine? That's how most people feel, subconsciously or consciously even. You can get it out of them when you press the issue. That's why I don't bother talking with stupid people, because I've learned from the great Mark Twain that you should never argue with stupid people. They will drag you down to their level and beat you with experience. No energy harvest from me. So that's for the propaganda of the masses. And that's how this is the basis of the narrative of the mainstream. Okay? Narrative is very important. Narrative is huge. Narrative is everything. What is the matrix? It's a narrative. Why is that important? Because the human being is a storytelling animal. Yeah. We shape our identity according to our past experiences. So we are who we are with a certain level of influence. Not everything, but with a certain level of influence from our past. And so that therefore, when you study history, which I did, even officially, yeah, I went to university, the University of Vienna, and I studied mathematics and history to become a teacher. So when you study history, and I was in Vienna, they have a huge history faculty with lots of different branches. And just to keep things short, I studied history there at the faculties. At the University of Vienna, I studied history to find out that the faculties of history are there to hide history. So my conclusion, because I really, really enjoy reading history. I've not done it for quite a while because I'm taking down a pedo satanic criminal network. This is what I do because that's the only way to freedom. The only way out is through. You have to take down darkness coming first, and then the light shines in. Because I'm not fooling myself in just imagining the new world to suddenly happen. Because I know I have to take down motherfuckers. That's what I do. So I have left my interest to the side, okay, in the form of books. For example, we've got a book here that was sent to me by the author. I couldn't believe it. I actually got friends. Because most of the people at demonstrations, they don't want anything to do with me. I'm a little bit too loco. Yeah, too intelligent. It's a threat for people who don't want to really grow. Oh yeah, we want things to change, but we don't really want to be the change. I've got a book here, for example, Bevölkerungsaustausch in Europa, deals with the engineered refugee crisis. And by the way, I'm not a nationalist, far from it. I'm Planetary Intelligence Agency, Department of the Slay. I can't read these books. I can't go into true history because I don't know if you've noticed that the war is really hotting up on the world, and we better know the solution. And I know the solution. Hands up. Not only do I know the solution to the problem, which also represents a paradigm, all right, plus and minus, checking white and black checkered floor of Freemasonry. Solution to the problem is not everything. I have the rare solution to the problem above the solution, because I know that what is normally attributed to Albert Einstein, which I would strongly question, because I strongly question Albert Einstein as not being the genius that he was wanting to be shown that he is, okay, but the quote is great. You can only solve a problem from a higher level of consciousness than that which created it. Yeah, solution is not enough to the problem. You have to have a resolution. That puts the Trinity in place again, once again. And it's that side of the paradigm. I have a solution to all of the world problems, and it's called Gnosticism. Oh, it's an ism, yeah. Fuck the ism, gnosis. Knowledge. Gnosis is knowledge. What knowledge? Knowledge about the modus operandi and the workings of the enemy. And yes, there is an enemy. There is a massive enemy that we have to tackle, and it is on the picture of this video. To know exactly what this enemy is and how this enemy relates to the self. How the self is influenced by the enemy. Those two. Know thyself, and then you know the enemy. It's called stratagem for warfare, for war on all levels. And every war has as its basis psychological warfare. However, when you are outside of the paradigm, as I keep saying, the Eagle Thunderbird perspective that looks into the matrix can see outside of the paradigm and pisses everyone off. It's the truth. Tells you about this reality. That's Gnosticism. Gnosticism is observing the workings of this reality from outside of this reality. That's the Eagle Thunderbird vision. If we don't have the Eagle Thunderbird vision, we do not find the resolution that is outside of the bubble of problem reaction solution. That is basically like plus and minus electrical. No, we need the electrical and the magnetic component. That's the resolution. Eagle Thunderbird vision. So, warfare on all levels, and has as its basis psychological warfare. However, from the level of gnosis, I'm not at war. That's how you do it. And then you see that your enemy only is at war. Exclusively. Only the enemy, the enemies of life that I can identify, I've already said, on one level. No, the enemy is an invading force. An invading force that uses a particular modus operandi of colonization. They colonize realms. It's the Archon vampire empire that is pyramidically structured, meaning that it has a hierarchy, and on top of the hierarchy, at the very top of this pyramid, is the demiurge, Satan, outside of this dimension, okay? So that pyramid has a peak. However, the demiurge is sort of like the false all-seeing eye on top of that pyramid. And on the very top of the pyramid, as a medium, a conduit, a receiver transmitter conduit in a bodysuit, but not human, is the international, global high priest of Satanism that sits in St. Corona, Austria, the name of Francis Vogel, who we have encountered, so now you know who's speaking to you. I'm just doing my job, and everyone else is doing their job. That's just what I do. I didn't know I was going to do that, but I wanted an end to slavery, so therefore I had to do what I have to do in order to end slavery and initiate humanity into freedom by first being initiated, what it needs for freedom. So this takes, as you can see, a long time to prepare, because I'm not doing your everyday geopolitical explanation. I don't want to waste everyone's time. We can do that in 5 minutes. That's what it takes to explain. So I want to head right into Ukraine now. So Ukraine, the situation in Ukraine right now, is what is called a power keg. Isn't that right? I've written it down. It's a power keg. Yep. Where things spill over, basically. A major flare. Yeah, that's happening in the Ukraine right now, in the world. I really don't know what's really going on there. One can take a look at the pictures themselves and make their own mind up. However, it's a symptom. Ukraine, it could have happened anywhere. Okay, they could have instigated that, like in years before. You had the situation in North Korea. They could have just as well have used that. They could have brought the whole Syria issue up again, which is still waging on. The war is still waging on. It's just that no one is paying attention because everyone has taken insanity as normalcy. As normality is insanity, and oh yeah, in Syria there's war. That's why Steve works his ass off, because people actually have to live that every day. Can you imagine? Every day since 2011 in Syria. And just imagine how life is for Palestine. Unbelievable. So it could have flared up everywhere across the world. However, it happened particularly in the Ukraine. You have the two blocks there. So you have what is called the expansion of NATO. Okay, where countries join the Western bloc of what is basically the world army. All right, that's what NATO is. It's the world army. And the counterpart to NATO is what is called, is another block, is the so-called BRICS nation, or BRICS nations. Like Brazil, Russia, Iran, China, and something with an S. South Africa, actually. Yeah. So we've got these two blocks, all right, militarily also. Sort of like, yeah, having alliances. And that's on that level of the pyramid, okay? So there is the high priest of Satanism, and now we integrate the nation states, all right? So you've got nation states, you've got these two factions, these blocks, the BRICS and NATO, all right? East and West. However, you go up the pyramid and that is one block. It's called the World Economic Forum, because they're all under the license, okay? The license is the license of the United Nations. Everyone has a seat at the United Nations of these countries. However, at the United Nations, you've got William Shakespeare's The World's a Stage happening all the time, and theatrics. And supposed diplomacy, and we got to talk, and violation of international law, though nothing ever fucking happens. So let's talk about international law. The West is now saying Russia has violated international law by invading Ukraine. But that doesn't count that same international law which says that no country is allowed to start a war with another country, basically. Russia is violating international law in 2022. However, when the West does it, it's called unnecessary intervention. That's what it's. They just use different words, you see. It's mind control. Russia playing the bad guy, okay, for the Westerners anyway, okay? Oh yeah, everyone's gonna love this one. Russia is the bad guy, violating international law in 2022, whereas when the West does it, like in Libya in 2011, it's called humanitarian intervention. And they're pissing on everyone's face because they're Satanists. They get their instructions in this pyramidical structure directly from the high priest of Satanism, who's the medium for the command and control structure of the Archon Empire, coming from the demiurge, the involutionary principle directly. They're Satanists and they're pissing on everyone, calling an invasion of a country, killing our human family, innocent people like me and like you. If you were in a war zone, you wouldn't be relaxed. Like in a full-blown war zone where it has materialized also. You see how they do it? You see how powerful narrative is? Just by how you frame it. Russia? Illegal? Oh boy. No. Violation of international law. Russia? Humanitarian intervention in the West. Because of course, you need a reason. You've got to answer all the questions, don't you? Got to answer all the questions. Better answer the question. So why are you intervening? Oh, it's because Gaddafi's killing his own people. Oh, we don't have to show any proof for that because that would be law. We just make the claim and piss on everyone's face. Again. Because that was 2011. Libya. Remember? Gaddafi. Why? What was the real reason why? Because Gaddafi switched to a gold-backed currency that would have united the African nations, all right, through this African Union that he created under his leadership, with massive amounts of gold that were in Libya. And Libya it had a better living standard than freaking Europe inside 40 years, all right? There's question marks also on Gaddafi, okay, and what he was up to, I don't know. However, I can absolutely guarantee that he was involved in the biggest project of creating a water reservoir of fresh water being pumped in the deserts and giving fresh water to all of the people in Libya. All right, that's documented. That's a fact. He was trying to get a hold of that currency. I talk a lot about currency here, and how currency is actually electricity that powers the Wetiko matrix. That's the power behind it. Okay, they basically blackmail people through the use of money. That's how people are corrupted, and they fall prey to the Wetiko mindset in this pyramid. So whenever you want to go up the pyramid, all right, whenever you want to go up the pyramid in any organization, so you're working for this children's care organization, and you started that job because you are really full of heart for the children. And then you see what really goes on, how they're stealing children, but you don't want to blow the whistle, do you? Because all the studies that you've done before and you got into this job, your reputation would be ruined if you do the right thing. Now, you're not ready to change your life, are you? So you better stay silent and live a life not worth living. And then lie on your deathbed with 5 minutes left to live. And the one question that has been waging war against you your entire life suddenly comes up from the subconscious into the conscious mind. And you ask yourself the question, what would my life have been if I would have done the right thing? And because people compromise for the sake of their career to get up the pyramid, have a better wage packet, because what am I supposed to do? The world's life's a bitch and then you die. Wetiko. That's how you waste your life, and that's how the world has been as it's been for a very long time. It's because the blackmail happens through the control of the money supply, which Gaddafi tried to change. However, he didn't know how the enemy truly works. The same as Hugo Chavez didn't know how the enemy works and what the enemy really is. They didn't have access to the information of gnosis that we do. They didn't know about the matrix. They thought you have to change the money supply. They identified that problem. And then they got the chop. Hugo Chavez died in, was it 2013? Something like that. In Venezuela. So you had 2011, the Libyan situation. And you see they're trying to do, now they're trying to go for a big global theater of war. Okay, they're really trying it now. And I'm going to explain how That is not possible, because what you're going to hear today, okay? What you're hearing today on the airwaves right now, how I'm coming from me, just one individual. I'm just a human being. Only human, as the agents would say in the Matrix, only human. And then they get the bullet by Trinity. By Trinity, when you decode the Matrix esoterically. The one thing the vampire empire doesn't want anyone have access to is the truth that is true esoteric information, which we share here for everyone for free, because that's the only reason why we can do what we do. The planet and all the allies only work for us because we do it for free. Everyone's makes their own choice when they think they really do a good job. Wow, I get a good resonance. It feels like my heart is coming back. Yeah, you're coming back to life, mate. And that's what we're here for. I'm not here to make bloody money. I'm happy to pay my rent and live like a normal life, because my life is all about taking down the Matrix, taking down pedophiles and Satanists, and tell them who's the boss. I want to be the boss, because I don't want to control anyone. I want to have my life in freedom. I don't have that life of freedom when there's war in Palestine and anywhere across the world. I don't have my freedom because I am a man. That's what it means to be a man. And your bullshit didn't work on me, did it? Your demasculization didn't work on this one, did it? You didn't chop off my balls, did you? Because I have heart, I have a soul, and I love humanity. Is the only thing I care for. And the earth that gives me everything I need, and that created me and told me I'm her child that she cares for. Take them down now. Yes. That's what scares everyone away who's fake, and they have to leave our community space, because I'm explaining things here. I'm giving my teaching lesson that I can't do at school because I'm not pathetic. And I don't subordinate to anyone's command because I'm in command. That's why we only have the real people on here. Because I know what they're trying to do right now. I know exactly what they're trying to do right now. And you can bet anything that I fulfill my promise, because I have an aim. I have an intention that is true freedom for humanity. That's why I'm slaying Wetiko. On all levels I checkmate. And for that to happen, I have to dissolve, slay, and integrate all my shadows. And I'm ready to do that. Happy to do that. Because that's what it takes to do this job. I've been watching for too long how our species is being invaded. And the way they do it is through the Hegelian dialectics, okay? They play two poles up against each other. Because This pyramidical structure, this is not a pyramid, this pyramidical structure represents electricity also, the upright pyramid. And they do not, the enemies of life, okay, what are defined as the invading force of colonization. And I'm exposing here with the videos to come the modus operandi of how they do that colonization, because I'm getting a lot of information from Mother Earth directly. And they shit the earth. They really are afraid of the earth. They're especially afraid of those people who only swear allegiance to the earth, who only swear allegiance to the one and only source that created the earth and that created me, created every one of us, the highest source. They're very afraid of that. So coming back to the point, the pyramid hierarchical structure represents electricity and plus and minus, anode and cathode. So the anode would be the Western bloc of hypocrites. Everyone knows the West is corrupt and are hypocrites. Everyone across the world, except for the imbeciles. Okay, I don't even mention them. And then you've got Russia, totally controlled by Wetiko. They're playing Putin left, right, and center. And if anyone thinks that Putin is against the New World Order, well then how did your QAnon psyop work out, huh? Is Trump still gonna get those white hats? And what happened with all of that? Are you still delusional? So you still couldn't admit that you were wrong? Because if you were to do that, you would give the first signs of intelligence. It means I was wrong. That's intelligence. I was wrong. Yeah, thank you. Now I know better. Yeah, good. That's what they can't do. That's why they're failing, and that's why they're losing. To Earth, to the Earth people, to humanity, to everyone listening here, who's still here after my tirade, because it's that kind of time. I'm not going to sit here. I'm not your Dr. Daniele Ganza professor. And I always got to stay centered and balanced, and you've got anger issues. We're not doing any of this bullshit. Okay? When I said I'm sharing real truth, real esoteric knowledge that has been hidden for very long time, that which they don't want us to have access to, I mean that. And that means the knowledge that has a beautiful metaphor called the New Age bullshit. It's a beautifully described metaphorically as having your head up your ass. That's New Ageism. For all the ones who are like, oh, he's got anger issues. Oh, you just got to be in balance. And no, it's called Buddhism. And you can guess who created that. Mindfuckery. That's why they're losing. And that's why I was myself under attack again from yesterday to today, and I slayed that. Another witch bites the dust. Dun, dun, dun. Another witch bites the dust, and another one comes, They all bite the dust, hey, because they're too demented to know that I'm slaying the boss. Dun, 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 dun. The music is playing for us, for the Earth people who are not being bullshitted by nothing. Oh, Putin, he's doing the right thing. No, you're under mind control. Oh, Trump is still going to get elected as president with those white hats. That's mind control. Or any other thing they can manufacture. Any solution that does not include your participation and you getting off the sofa and being a moral human being and doing the right thing in your circumstances. That's all anyone has to do. Doing the right thing. That's all anyone ever had to do. We also don't do complexity here on the Gnostic Takeover. Simplicity is the way. All you have to do is do the right thing. And that includes telling your wife or telling your mother to stop sucking your energy. Especially. What we're dealing with here, decoding World War III, checkmating Wetiko, is knowing what evil is. That's what we're dealing with. You see that bastard on the picture? That's who we're dealing with. Satan. He's nothing. That's why he had to create all the ideologies and religions to portray him as the dark overlord. Oh, be happy that you're just dealing with a demon, because if you were to deal with Satan, it will all be over. So who wants to portray a picture like that of himself? A narcissist, a loser, an idiot. To have a wall in front of him so he never gets challenged. And that's what I'm tasked to do as High Commander of the highest source, protector of Earth and protector of humanity. I have to slay Satan. That means dissolving and eliminating the field of Wetiko. That's what Satan wants to hide. That there is no physical being called Satan. It's a field. Manipulating this reality through a mindset, through a mind virus, the real virus. And then, because it is an inverted consciousness, and it is a mind virus, it needs to invert that and say there's a virus rampaging the world as a pandemic. Things making sense? Yeah. So now that narrative is failing, because due to a lot to the work that we're doing here in the epicenter of Satanism in Austria, and many other people all across the world, I know you're all doing a great job. It's not just me and Errol. I know that. And I'm the first one to give credit and the first one to be absolutely happy that that is so, because I'm not interested to do this on my own. In actual fact, I've been lonely my whole life, with a broken heart. That's why I get so emotional and angry, because you don't know for how long I just had to look on from the side show, not knowing how to change things. And everyone always say, oh, you can't change that. And then they're force vaccinating the children. The same people are still saying, oh, you can't change that. I know how to change it now, because I looked for it, because I wanted it. That's why I was chosen by the earth and to speak this message, and that's why it's being put a cap on by all the people that are not what they seem to be. So I'm moving on now with what is the what is really going on here, and that's going to be my last bit on the first episode. This is I can't decode the whole World War III scenario in one single video. Forget it. I'm not even going to try to attempt it. This is a theme that we're going to be speaking about more, because we're decoding the field of Wetiko on the global level and dissolve and slay it. Then World War III can't happen. You are listening right now to the most positive message probably on the planet, because I've got the information why. I've got the information why a full-blown World War III scenario cannot happen. And I swear to that. And I say that I, Stephen Wybra, I'm speaking in the name of the one and only truth, that I know the information that cannot ever, throughout the multiverses, throughout time immemorial, cannot make full-blown World War III a reality. That information is what I have. I have that information. I don't have to research it. I have that information. Because it is all a big, massive hack. And that includes all of it. What I'm saying is what I'm saying for the very first time. I'm trailblazing here. And the feeling that I'm getting is that this will make the Gnostic takeover go global. It will bust. It will bust the bubble that they put the Gnostic takeover under. Because they really put a cap on our work, if you may have noticed. What is it? 4,500 people? It's crazy. Yeah. Because the truth is what they most fear. It's their end. But I'm saying this for the very first time. And I don't know how long it goes, but I'm going to pick up the theme with the beginning of 2020. Beginning of the Covidian cult. So what preceded that? What happened before 2020? I'm going to write that down because it's an important anchor. Everyone think about this. What happened before 2020? What were you looking into? I can tell you that in 2017, I began looking into 5G. Oh, what a distraction we're under, ladies and gentlemen, isn't that right? Those of mankind, man and women. Isn't that right? How we're being totally distracted from the implementation of the smart grid. That only works with 5G, 6G technology, which is a bandwidth, by the way. It's not some particular thing. When diluted down to the essence, it's a bandwidth of frequencies. That is alien to this planet. That's a fact, a scientific fact, actually. These are not natural frequencies. In actual fact, they are pulse. That goes for all the generations before 5G also. Also the Wi-Fi in your home. If If you haven't got the cable, I would really recommend you having cable your internet, because if you think 5G is a danger, look at the research from Lena Poo on Wi-Fi. Unbelievable. Okay, they're not natural frequencies that the natural habitat, the natural environment thrives under. The medium of the natural habitat, because let's let everyone remember that what we can see as nature are different colors of the light spectrum. So everything is frequency, as Tesla said. Everything is energy, frequency, and vibration. Everything. Yeah. And those are natural frequencies. The Schumann resonance, very important. It nourishes all life, informs all life as one grid on the earth, natural energy grid of the earth. It's what the human brain is tuned to. Has the same frequency of the Schumann resonance of the planet with the activity of the brain, and much, much more. All natural beings and systems are tuned to the Schumann resonance. And then it's what I call the natural field of consciousness. The natural field. And then you have 5G and the other Gs. We're talking microwave radiation. In the US, they also say radio frequency radiation to it. That's the term not often used in Europe, however. The point is, 5G and all these Gs are pulse modulated, artificial pulse modulated electromagnetic radiation is what they give off. Artificial pulse modulated electromagnetic frequencies that give off radiation in the form of energy. And it can do many things, 5G. Okay, surveillance system. For example, 3D mapping. You can map an entire house because of the huge bandwidth of frequencies that are being used there. It can, because the more frequency bandwidth you use, the more information, like a computer, the stronger a computer, the more information it can decode and process and do more things than other computers. That's what 5G is basically. It ramps up the processing capabilities. And that's why I call it the 5G matrix. It is actually the 5G and the 6G and all that, all the Gs together. I like to call it the 5G Wetiko matrix, because 5G and Wetiko are one and the same. So you can talk about surveillance, you can talk about electromagnetic weapons. Yeah, it's a weapon system, as Mark Steele explains, who I don't trust too. And Dr. Barry Trower is also a resource if you're interested in looking into it. I've looked into all of that. That was what I looked into before 2020. That's why it's very important. And the most important to know about 5G is that it's the medium of an artificial reality. 5G is the medium and facilitates the bandwidth of frequencies to create an artificial simulation of reality that is a copy of the natural reality. It is a simulation. Wetiko and 5G, different. Wetiko is the overarching notion I'm using, and 5G is a part of Wetiko, massive part of Wetiko, in fact. And that creates an artificial matrix. So what we need to ask is the most fundamental, most important question. What radio station is my mind tuning into? Because the mind, our mind, is a receiver-transmitter system that decodes reality for us. Our reality outside of us is our psyche, 100%. Nothing excluded. It is the psyche. That's why we command. I, as a high commander of the highest source, I command that I am the only exclusive authority of my reality. Do that. Do that as often as you can. I do it under the ice cold water commands. Why do I do that? Because the reality outside of me that the Satanists want me to believe is all material, because they're materialists. They don't want us knowing what reality is, because the reality outside of us is psychic. The reality outside of us is our psyche. So what is there to fear? Nothing. This is an environment for us to grow. However, the involutionary force, the invading force of colonization that colonizes realms, wants to hijack creation. It specifically wants our mind that projects our experiential reality for us to grow. It wants to disconnect and sever our mind to connect and decode natural reality of our psyche that is for our growth. This invading force, this Archon vampire empire, wants to sever the connection to the natural reality, and wants us, the souls that it wishes to harvest, to decode an artificial Wetiko matrix reality of a prison that it controls. Because these Satanists want to be God. But they can only be God, the dogs that they are. They want to be gods in a sealed, contained, controlled reality. That's why they hijack creation. So in that sealed, controlled reality, there is no growth. There is robotics, slavery, and hierarchy. That's what they want to do. This is the war. And everything is there to deviate from that which they are doing, because this is what they're doing. Again, they want to disconnect our mind that is a receiver-transmitter system, the mind that creates our reality that is for our experience to grow as conscious beings. this invading force of the Archon Vampire Empire intends specifically to sever and cut our connection and decoding of this natural reality for our growth. He wants to disconnect us and connect us to an artificial AI 5G Wetiko matrix reality that they control and that they want to be gods in, because they do not control this reality that we're in right now from where I'm speaking. They do not control this reality. And they hate me for speaking that, for saying that. Because the only ones who are in control of this reality are the moral beings that command the immoral. Because there is a natural hierarchy and they hate it. Which is why they can't touch me. Because I do not consent on all levels of their imposition and their programs and their mind control and all the doors that they open with Wetiko in forms of women that want to insidiously manipulate me so I can get arrested just like Errol, because we're taking these fuckers down. And we're ending World War III. Ending all wars forever. That's the absolute truth of what I'm here to do. As a diplomat of the earth. And the natural order goes very simple. So now, I'll have to speak about this one another time because it's far too big a topic. This is what the diplomat of the earth is going to speak to the Putins, okay, when they come out of their rat holes. Because these people, they all sit in these huge palaces that do not belong to them. They are remnants of an ancient civilization that we don't know the history of, because specifically the CIA, it's in CIA documents, all right? And the Jesuits will know what I'm talking about. Many other people will know what I'm talking about. It's in CIA documents that they had to eliminate the history of Tartaria, a worldwide civilization that is framed as being Tartaria. However, the theme is what counts. It's a worldwide civilization, which is the reason why we have similar architecture all across the world, and it is called Roman Greek architecture. When the Roman fucking Catholic Church can't create shit. That's what I have got for the Catholic Church. Everyone can get as offended as they like if they're religious. I'm not here to please anyone. I'm here to be victorious, glorious, and successful. That's what I'm here to do. That's why I'm sometimes hard on myself, because I only go for the highest goals. This is what makes us get this job done. So now, until the end of the video, I'm going to speak as the diplomat of the earth and let all the demons laugh as much as they want, because I don't think they're laughing that much now as they did half a year ago when I was in a state of, when I was being attacked and I was going through my descent, my depression. All right, I'm totally honest about that because I'm a man. I'm a true man. They're laughing less now But however, they're still laughing because they're demented. You see? They can only perceive inside their bubble. That's why they're demented. Because I'm outside of the bubble. I'm everywhere. They want to get to me, but they can only get to me if I am in the bubble. They would love that. Arrest me. And, put some stupid excuse that, oh, I committed suicide. Yeah, but like they did with everyone. Anyone who's working on free energy technology or who's working on healing practices that actually heal people and not fucking murdering them, like the pharmaceutical cartel. They would love that with me. However, I'm too intelligent for them, and I'm not in that bubble. And in their closed mind, in that bubble perception, they can't decode what's outside of the bubble. They don't even know they're in a bubble. And I'm everywhere outside of that bubble, moving around, and they can't. Oh, no frequency resonance with, where is he? We've never experienced that. Yeah, you bloody well never experienced that. Because this is reality speaking to you. That's why I shout as much as I want. That's why I do whatever I want. Because I'm king. You only are king when you're moral. Anyone can be king. I'm not saying I'm the one and only king and no. I'm saying it because it pisses them off. They hate the king. Look at all of history. They always demonize kings. And then, and now we've got democracy and the war never stopped. The Second World War never stopped. It's all continuous wars because of this invading force. So what's going to stop this war is what I have to share as, and that's why I say they're going to laugh a little bit. He calls himself the diplomat of the earth. Yeah, I call myself, you can call me Susan if that makes you happy. All right? I don't care. You can call me David or Daniel. I'm not going to be your bloody Jesus, that's for sure. I don't give a fuck about Jesus. Everyone, again, get as offended as you like. You can believe in whatever you want to believe. I'm not going to interfere with that one bit. But I personally do not have zero interest in Jesus. Zero. So what I'm saying here, as a diplomat of the earth, ends all war. So guys, you're all part of a vampire empire, and they told you, okay, they told you wherever you are in that pyramid and whatever order you were initiated into, you could be in the 33rd degree of Freemasonry, you could be in the Illuminati that are not illuminated. The Illuminati is speaking to you in the form of I, a man. I am the Illuminati, not you. I own the Illuminati, the all-seeing eye. Because I'm looking into this reality in the Eagle Thunderbird vision. I'm the Illuminati speaking to you. And in that instant, I'd like to you can call me diplomat of the earth. No matter what order you were initiated into. Freemasonry, Jesuits, could be the Pope. Well, what else is there of this, of this infiltration of the Archon Vampire Empire? Let me think. Oh, the Aura Lodges. Oh, above the 33rd degree of Freemasonry, you got the Aura Lodges and all that, and you guys think you're really in the know, don't you? You really think you're in the know. And you control this world, and you laugh at humanity. My only reason of existence is that you stop laughing. Because you're a fat fucking pig who knows nothing. Yeah, it's me speaking, the Illuminati. You live on a planet here, okay? I don't care what shape the earth has. I don't give a fuck about that. That's not what I'm here to find out. The only reason I'm here is to see you suffer. Because you're a criminal. That's why I'm here. Now you can end your suffering by aligning to morality. I'm not the one inflicting on your suffering because you created that for yourself because of your immoral behavior. You created that for yourself. And according to the natural order, reality is a feedback loop according to the behavior that you exhibit in the world in the form of your interactions with your everyday human beings and the people you interact with. If you're a jackass, you're going to get jackass. Okay? When you poop on people's faces, all right, you get pooped in the fucking face. I am that mechanism that removes the wall that has protected you from throwing the fucking shit in your face that you fucking deserve, you criminal. You're a criminal. No matter what order you were initiated in, no matter how high up, I dealt with your fucking boss in the form of a high priest of Satanism, and he is nothing! He is nothing! Because they all just work on deception and manipulating humanity's perception and deceive the perception, because in its true state, humanity tells you you're a fucking criminal. And the shit, if it's not already hit you yet, I will make absolutely sure that the shit hits you and you go into hell. That's what you created for yourself. And I'm just the mechanism of the natural order that is going to be shown your way. I didn't create that for you. That was all of your doing. You thought you could get away with your immoral behavior. I only exist that you don't. Because on the other side of the spectrum, on the other side of the coin, that would mean that all the moral beings, as I speaking to you right now, get the freedom that their moral behavior deserves. The moral behavior that I have exhibited in my everyday interaction with human beings will then mean that the war in Palestine is history. That all the wars on the earth are history, which is the only definition that I use for my life. My definition of freedom. That every human being can do as they choose to in whatever country they want to be, at whatever time, whenever. Because if left to their own devices, if left for them to choose themselves, humanity is a peaceful species. All criminality all across the world is created because of your sick monetary system that has been taking all of the money out of circulation for the entire population of the world and put it in the hands of the few. And you thought you were so fucking intellectual because you're not intelligent. You might have a little bit of an intellect, but even that I trump. I'm more of an intellectual than you'll ever be. So you wanted to put all the money into your circle of friends who are up to quite criminal behavior in the form of pedophilia and sacrifice of human beings and human trafficking, organ trafficking, all of it. I know all of it. Okay, everything. It's nothing I don't know. So don't even try to suss me out because I know everything. And you wanted to concentrate all of that wealth in your artificial monetary system to your friends, who are then the gods of your artificially created reality. An AI, your God, Satan, fuck him. Who the fuck does he think he is? He's nothing. And then eliminate cash. When all the money is with your friends, you want to tell all the people they should get a universal credit score monthly, and only when they do what you tell them to do, which is harming themselves, because you want everyone to be like you, because you hate yourself. And that's the absolute truth. Now go cry back home to your mummy, because it just so happens that you might be a master psychologist, but I'm a grandmaster fucking psychologist. And the picture of Mona Lisa is also me looking at you. You got mummy issues, have you? Me. That's your problem, not my problem. You hate yourself. Problem is that I love myself, which makes me be in a better position than all of your rich boys club and all the witches that you've got. You hate yourself, but don't put it on to us, because we love ourselves. We're humanity. And so we move into international laws, shall we? What's the law that's internationally recognized? Well, first of all, it's natural order. We get what we deserve in our everyday experienced reality. It reflects our behavior in the form of energies that we draw in the form of experiences, of people, of job offers, of if anyone even wants a job, because the last thing I want in my life is a fucking job. So there's the natural order, but the natural order only runs when a civilization has trust with each other. Then you don't need any system, because you trust, and everyone has been educated to the fact that morality is the one and only important thing, and you only have rights when you act right. When you know the difference between right and wrong behavior, which is easily disseminated, that right is everything that does not cause harm to other sentient beings, and wrong is what does cause harm to sentient beings. Isn't that so? I know it's the biggest secret of your Freemasonic order and the Jesuit order. You think in moral relativism terms. You think that morality is relative, and it's okay for you to kill innocent victims to feed to the demiurge because you're demented. It's not the truth. So natural order runs this planet like any other reality. Natural order throughout the multiverses, all right? And when there's trust and everyone has been educated, then we don't need any system. We just have the resources that we have, and we are on a high level of intelligence, so we wouldn't harm each other. Because harming someone else would be harming the self, wouldn't it? Because the self and the collective are inseparable units according to the torus field, how this reality works in toroidal fields according to the sequence of 369 by Nikola Tesla. No, you didn't like Tesla, did you? Well, he's fucking back, so get on with it. And in this transition phase we're in right now from a war-based society that has all been manipulated exclusively 100% by the Archon Vampire Empire that do not belong here on this earth, and I would like to see any form of legitimacy why you're still even fucking here. And you have to ask us for permission to even be here. And if you're not acting morally, we'll tell you to fuck off from Earth. We don't want you here. I want to see some legitimacy. And it's not going to be some toilet paper you write your signature on, all right? It's not legitimacy. Better come up with some ideas, won't you? What it comes down to is you have to ask us for permission to stay here. And quite frankly, from everything that I have learned in 31 years of my life, the answer is quite simply no. I'm sick of you guys. I need a fucking holiday from you pieces of trash. And I have every right to feel that way because I'm human. I'm moral. And I don't like you guys at all. That's my biggest strength. That's made me catapult myself into the position of authority over you, because the moral command the immoral. I command you to leave. The reason why I'm saying that is, so in a utopian society, we would have natural order in place. Everyone would be living according to moral code. However, we're not there yet, so we need a transition phase, don't we? So it will be clear to everyone that any action that is taken, any legislation that some quote-unquote state wishes to act upon its population, any law inside a system of, I wouldn't call it governance, I would call it, let's say, management, or something. We'll come up with something better. I'm just gonna write that down because you see, I'm still learning. It'll be time if you would also recognize that you need to learn, because with the speed you're going at right now as the Archon Vampire Empire and being the low-level initiate that you are, you're heading right for that brick wall, and it's gonna hurt. All right? So you ready to learn and listen? Because it's the inevitability. Because you're checkmated on all levels. All levels. I made sure of that. So in this transition phase, any form of quote-unquote law, because the only laws that exist are the laws of nature, but any quote-unquote law that any management institution or any man or woman wishes to have its population follow is going to have to be a contract. That's what it's always been. Every law throughout time immemorial has always been on the basis of a contract, because everything is based on the social contract. And every contract has to be ensured, because the system that we're creating now from the natural order, the system is a copy of the natural order and is always based on contracts. Because in the natural order, trust is there, but in a system, in this transition phase, the trust has to be built over time. You don't just trust people that you've just crossed paths with, because they could be deceiving you. I've had many experiences where people were deceiving me for many years, and now they've left my life, which is good. So any law has to be a contract. Are you following? Because otherwise your IQ is in single or double digits maximum. I wouldn't give it more than 60. You following? Okay, good. All right, natural order. So we're creating a system for this transition phase. The system is a copy of the natural order and is always based on contracts. So it all has to be accountable. Every action has to be accountable. There's no getting away with genocide anymore. We've learned from past mistakes, which is the very definition of evolution. We learn from our mistakes. And with every law being a contract, has to be ensured we are inside an insurance system. Everyone's accountable for their actions, and everyone, all of population, has the free choice to follow said recommendations, said man-made laws. However, the population has to recognize that if they inflict injury or damage or when they cause damage to someone and cause harm to other beings, they're liable, they're privately liable to the law that is set by the individual that suffered said harm. So they have to be told that they are not getting away with it. No one gets away with it, and that's the beauty of the natural order. It's called justice. And that is set now. The Wetiko field is checkmated. However, I am just the messenger. It's up to the source how it plays out. But how did anyone like this, huh? That's how you speak to them. You can only speak to them like this if you are that authority. So this is it, ladies and gentlemen. It's been quite long. I'm tired. However, I am happy to have everyone's, or those of mankind who want to speak. I'll quit and finish this recording now and say thank you to all of you. There's not going to be full-blown World War III, because I say so. That's the power we have as human beings. And all of us have that power.